Now, look, it's time to talk the hot topics and get parents everywhere talking. And here with me today is Dannielle Miller, Troy Jones and Lisa Hensely. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Look, first up, the Queensland Police pleading for more resources after it was revealed that child sex predators are daily breaching parole conditions. Now, some of the worst offenders have been caught lying about their whereabouts and meeting other pedophiles despite being fitted with GPS trackers. So, look, I'm going to start with you, Dannielle. What can be done about this, really?
Yeah, it's very frightening, isn't it? And as a parent, of course, our first response is very emotional and we really want these people stopped. I think we need to also, though, be very mindful of the fact that, unfortunately, the statistics on child sexual assault are really horrifying. 1 in 10 young girls will be assaulted by the time they're 15. And in most of those cases, the predator will be someone known to the family. So it's really tempting for us to think about this stranger danger and think that there are predators out there lurking that we need to lock away. Of course, that's part of the solution, but we need to be mindful about giving our own children skills and being watchful as parents, even within our own homes.
It is tough, isn't it? Troy, what do you think about this?
Mate, I think the classic dad response on this is to shut up and to sort of pretend like it doesn't exist, and I can control it myself because I'm Superman with really strong arms, which is true for me and you, but for a lot of guys maybe not.
That's right.
So I think what the main thing is to bring it up and talk about it in a family situation and make sure that we don't protect our kids to the point where they don't even know that it's there and they become vulnerable. So be brave as a dad, step up to the plate and actually start to discuss these things about what the strategies might be and what it is they can do about it.
It's got a good point, Lisa. It's about community. The police are under-resourced here. They can't help us.
Well, I think it's about parental supervision. I think these two are right, and I think we've got to accept that these people exist in the community. A lot of them have been victims themselves.
Yeah.
So it's a cyclical thing, so we have to have, I know it's hard, we have to find some compassion.
Yes, we do.
And I think if we find compassion for our fellow man and just look after our own homes, don't leave your children alone with a man or a woman that you don't know. It's not worth it. Don't go out. You know, make sure that they're safe. Leave them with grandma if you can. And I know it's hard. I know people are under the pump, but we have to take responsibility.
We certainly do. I mean, it's really hard. We don't want to just take a pitchfork mentality here and, you know, chemical castration or whatever. We also need to work out how to solve this problem at the source.
And there's another thing that I find hard is, you know, we go to the park as a dad with your kids.
Yeah.
And if a kid falls over that's not yours and hurts themselves, as a guy, you have to stand back and
your instinct is to go.
Yeah, and to hug them or look after them. But there's this societal thing that sort of says, because you're a man, you're probably doing something dodgy here.
Well,
so I think let's just back off.
Well,
I think that's a dangerous thing.
Interesting, Troy, because my husband and I made the decision when our kids were little, no sleepovers till they're 8 and 9, till we've educated them on what's right and wrong. And it doesn't matter if it's our best friends or our relatives. It's a blanket rule.
Yeah. Look, let's move on to the next topic, and this is a little bit lighter than that, but how's this for an after-school activity, guys? Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt's son Maddox has started taking flying lessons. Yes, he's 10 years old. Of course Dad's going to let him have the plane. While he can't get his licence until he is 16, look, this just seems a little bit young, Dan, don't you think?
Well,
You're speechless.
You're speechless about this.
Legally, he's not allowed to actually fly a plane solo. So, truth be known, he's probably went on a bit of a joy flight, got to do a little bit of steering while he's up there and about, and a lot of it's been blown up. We love to be the parenting police. We love to look at what celebrities do and tisk and tusk. I'm sure that the reality is it isn't that he's out there flying jets to school and you know taking his mates to parties.
He's not John Travolta's son.
Well, yeah, good point.
But there's an arrogance attached to it, Dannielle. That's the thing I read in this story. Is I remember when John Kennedy died, and someone said it's the Kennedy curse. I said, what's that? And it's an arrogance that comes with money and power, that you can do anything and get away with it. And when I saw this story, I had that immediate sort of reaction that they just think they're invincible. And letting a 10-year-old in a plane, flying a tiny plane.
But he wasn't flying. He was actually with a pilot.
Oh, he was smoking a cigarette and he had a cap on, Dannielle.
He was drinking. We're sure he was drinking and flying.
Don't we love to be critical of celebrities?
Let's get the boy's perspective here. I mean, I have a young son. He's now obsessed with choppers. Choppers are everything, but he just looks at the sky and screams every time. Yeah. I mean, he's going to want to get on that Channel 9 one, you know, once he sees that he comes here.
I just feel bad for the flight instructor. I mean, how would you be there with little Maddox and then Brad Pitt and a bag full of money, and Brad says, hey, let Maddox have a turn, champ. I don't know how self-responsible the teacher's going to be and say, no, Brad, keep your money.
I actually think Brad
he won't fly the jet.
I think Brad offered him some Cocoa Pops with Coca-Cola on it.
We're interesting, aren't we? We love to criticise celebrities, yet we emulate what they wear.
Take a Brad Pitt when you can. Jeepers, we don't get much of a chance.
We really
if it ever happens.
Finally, a leading academic claims that we should scrap the traditional 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. school days, which is 6 days a week, and then the summer holidays, and 8 to 6 weeks there, because they're just not relevant to modern times anymore. Lisa, don't you agree?
Well, you know what? When I first heard this, my ego, my adult ego, went, what a fabulous idea. And then I had to look at my children and say, they can barely cope with the school hours they've got, and play is such an important thing. And 20 years ago, when we were all taken home and sat in front of a television at 3:30, I would have said, yeah, let's keep them at school longer. But now there are great after-school programs, and I just think we have to remember that our kids are kids, and they're actually young even when they're 13. So to make them do 9 to 5.
Well, Troy, what do you think about this? I think keep them there longer. Let's wear them out.
Two things. I had my kids for the summer holidays, and I love them to death.
Oh, the
Jeepers,
6
back
week
to
thing's
school
silly.
was super awesome when it was back to school.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I think the whole system, we've inherited a system from 120 years ago. The reason for summer holidays in the old days was
summer.
Was for so the kids back in the late 1800s could bring in the summer harvest. That's the reason for the holidays. So I think we've got to look at the whole school system and go, why is it the way it is?
We've also looked at the child labour laws. That's what you're saying.
And I don't think any educator is arguing that they should be doing traditional curriculum from 9 till 5. What we're really talking about here is that we live in a changing world. Learning has changed. There might be more opportunities for interesting projects, for some work from home, for some more student-directed learning. That would be really interesting. I actually worked at a school that was from 10 till 4:30 because teenagers are very sleepy and groggy in the mornings and very sort of alert in the afternoon. So we switched things around a little bit more to suit that cohort, and it was brilliant. They loved it.
You get them doing a morning show. You get up early.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. I love this panel so much. Thanks, Dannielle, Troy and Lisa. And now here's Yvette with a little beauty advice for you.